Welcome
Hey,
to
we're live.
now.
Welcome to the Pogey Bait channel, everybody. And I think we're a minute or two early. So if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. That's the way I was always
Let's
taught.
get her done.
Well, JT, I got the first one for you, and this is the most explosive news. What do you think of the Epstein list? I don't even know if I need to start the timer for this, because this might be a longer topic with the Epstein list. I mean, the full list just came out minutes ago.
I was looking for the full list beforehand, right?
Yep.
And I know Slick will. Here's the thing: we know the names on the list. And the list doesn't say you did anything criminal. It doesn't say that.
Yep.
If you went there once, I'd go. Maybe you went there and go, "This isn't for me." You went there 30 times. You got some explaining to do, right?
Yeah, 55
and that makes
times.
sense. You're like, why did you do there so many times? So I could see, like, I've been to places that aren't the best. I haven't been with minors, but been to places where, let's say, something bad happens. There's a shooting. I'm not a shooter, but you could see that in this circle. I'm giving the benefit of the doubt. But here's the list. Here's the bottom line of the list to me. Criminal, nothing happens. Until civil action happens. You saw that woman at Bergdorf's 30 years later and said he groped me up and he lost. Civil, less standard of evidence required. But these people all have so much money, and they're not doing it for fame to get like that Bergdorf lady, whatever, the crazy lady with the eyes, who was on Anderson Cooper and said, "Love to be raped." So I just think there's too much money. So let's just say you bring a suit, and you don't have a political bent, but you want to get paid. Like, you were damaged by these people, and you feel like you should get paid. And your lawyer's like, "Hey, this is worth millions and hundreds of millions of dollars." That could happen. There'll be settlements. I mean, how long did it take for Weinstein to come out? Now, they may give us some sacrificial lambs, but it'll be like Lindsey Graham with boys. I mean, ultimately, there's both parties have lots of people on this list. Otherwise, we would have saw it. I don't think anything criminal happens. Now, could it? Well, of course it could. Bill Cosby went to prison for stuff happened 30 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the standard of proof and evidence, I just don't. Now, I think I said this last time. I'll say it again. It's not locals a lot. It's not who's on the list. It's who gets redacted from the list. Because you can't take Clinton off because everybody knows. That's how. But nothing will happen. Nothing's going to happen to Bill Clinton. Let's say a woman goes, "Yeah, I was 12, and I told him I was 14, and we did the dirty." What's going to happen? Nothing. They'll say, "Look," because the media dictates this, all of it. Period. That's where the media dictates this. That's why Trump's indicted a bazillion times. Without the media, it wouldn't happen. They're not going to push it. They're just going to go, "So what? Everybody likes to do a little coke in the White House or sleep with a 12-year-old." Yeah. I mean, I really think that's where it's at. I don't think there's anything groundbreaking here. It's another distraction. They let the thing loose. The people, we've already seen a supposed list, right? And so we get the real list. What does it mean? It doesn't mean everyone's a chomo if you went there once, because you may have gotten his plane. Like, say you're on his plane, because all these guys let each other these planes in New York. I can see that happening. And again, not simping for them, but I just don't think it matters. I think we're wasting our time. The economy sucks balls. We're sitting there going, "Oh, we're in the Red Sea." Iran in the Houthis. I don't know if you saw that thing I put on Twitter.
Yeah.
I'll let you go.
God.
About the Yemen military. It looks just like the dictator, the Borat guy. I'm like,
it does look like Borat.
Are you kidding me? And they're like, "We can blow the U.S. fleet." I'm like, no, you can't. I mean, I was on ships long ago, and those ships were sophisticated. Those people were serious men running those ships. I mean, serious guys. It may take. That is one place in the military. The people who run the ship, the captains of the ships, and all the people that are the lower kind of mid-tier management, they're serious about that damn ship. I mean, that was one thing. Wow. You can see why, but I just laugh at that. So that's my take. I think it's a distraction. I think we've seen the list. I think it's going to come out as we already saw. We've already seen the list. Now it's just confirming what we already know for the last 3 years.
I think the most damning name that will be on the list, the one that'll have the most effect, and you and I both know, and everybody watching knows, and thanks for everybody tuning in, Hunter Biden's name is going to be on that list. That's going to be the one that I think everybody latches onto and sets that causes like a forest fire. With everything with the Hunter Biden laptop, I think that's the one that gets it. Because again,
average person
Joe's name will be on there.
Average person sitting at home is going to go, "Okay, he's got a scumbag son. Whatever, I don't care." I think the Hunter Biden thing is a waste of our time. Now, as it relates to Joe doing criminal acts while he was a vice president, is not. But all of his stuff, I mean, if it's criminal, it should be investigated. But as it relates to politics, everybody's going to go, I have a brother like that. I don't care.
Yeah.
Therein lies the problem, because I think he'll be on the list. I think he's done all sorts of things. But what about hey, you owe us 10 mil CCP? My dad's getting half. He's sitting right here. That's gone. No one's talking about that. That's treason. All intents and purposes. So, and we know we have to start the clock and we'll get her going, but I thought we'd just riff on this a little bit. I don't know what you think. I think we're following Hunter again. I'm like, and most people, average Joe's like, I have a scumbag brother. So I'm only blamed for that. Or my kid's a scumbag. But it involves criminality with the father while he's in politics. But that's gone again. No one talks about it. I don't get it, man.
If you guys are watching in the chat, feel free to put some names in there if you know anything or if you're learning any information or who you think is on the damn list. Because like JT said, I think we're aware of the names. Hell, I know Hillary's going to be on there. I know Bill's going to be there. I'm sure Barack and Michelle. I bet Nancy's husband's going to be on there. I bet there's going to be all the usual suspects.
What Republicans?
Republicans. Well, they dealt with girls, so that crosses Lindsey Graham and John McCain off because they've always been playing hide the meat whistle between those two. I could see, what about Giuliani? Wouldn't that be big? Giuliani, McCarthy.
I think McCarthy's too new to have mattered.
Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, you got to think of the older, strong politician. What if Romney was a Mittens Romney?
Oh,
that'd be great. You know, the Mormon from Utah.
Oh, the Mormon church would lose their mind.
If he went like 50 times. It'd be like the Scientology church with Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
they would off anybody who said anything.
I'm thinking like Jeb Bush, maybe George W. What was the Texas governor before Abbott? I forget the name of the guy before then. Somebody just said in the chat, Crenshaw. I think Crenshaw was a little young. He might have been trafficked by Epstein.
They didn't want to talk to him then. He was still, dropped to his knees to get in and then fuck everybody.
What about Milley? What kind of military leaders could be on there? Colin Powell? That's the first one that comes to mind. Colin Powell.
God forbid Schwarzkopf's on there.
Oh God. Tommy Franks, Storm and Norman. Could you imagine? I think Bill de Blasio and the old governor of New York as well, Cuomo. I guarantee you they're on there.
Sure. Cuomo over there.
I bet Joe Manchin's on the list. I guarantee you Manchin's on there without a shadow of a doubt.
I'm just thinking of people that are, what about Seneca or the thing in Maine, that woman, Susan Collins?
Oh yeah, Susan Collins. Yeah, I could see that. I could see Gavin Newsom on there. I could see Reverend Al Sharpton. What about Jesse Jackson? We know Bill Gates is on there.
What about foreign leaders? I don't want to. Hey guys, we're not going to spend the whole time on the Clinton list, but what about foreign leaders you want to get? I mean, remember, there's a book that's put out by, I'm drawing a blank on her name. It's called In Blackmail We Trust, or something like that. It's a great book. Whitney Webb. I listened to an audiobook. And Epstein and the Maxwells and the whole, she ties it together. It's very dense.
Yep.
But he's going after all the players, right? He was part of, the Israel intelligence by all.
Yep.
I mean, that's what the guy said who gave him like no time in jail. He's like, he's an intelligence asset. Now, he didn't say which intelligence, but, I'm just wondering what foreign leaders. Now, you've said it was, I don't know, pick a country in Africa that they want to get oil from.
Yeah.
No one's going to care. Of course, if he's black, you can't talk about it because you become a racist all of a sudden. But I don't know. I mean, I think, again, we're wasting our time.
It's a distraction.
The Iowa caucus coming up. We got Nikki Haley getting jammed down her throat.
Yeah.
And when the Democrats love somebody like Nikki Haley, you have to go, whoa, hold on a second here.
Yep.
Well,
I say just like the list, let's move on. The media is going to run with this for months, but I'm done with the list.
Well,
we all know it's a distraction.
It's just like Hunter Biden. Now they let the Hunter Biden thing out, so people are just so wrapped around it. Mm-hmm. I'm going, our economy blows, our southern borders blown open.
Yep.
We have no idea who's coming. All of these people are future liabilities that you're paying for if you work. You're paying for it. I just go, people are like, oh my God, let's look at the list.
Yeah.
I go again, economy, border, economy, border. Please get through your head.
Damn
You know, I
right.
think I sent you something about, said we should talk about the border, all the
Oh
things
yeah.
Biden's in the strike down Arizona, Texas. It's like, who do you work? What are you doing? States' rights are great if you want to take a 8-year-old and transition them or give them a COVID poke, but yet states can't protect their own borders. It's and people. I don't think people care. Honestly, I
I
think people are just like, I
I,
don't
I
care.
don't think people care either. Well, I tell you what, I'll put you on the clock, and we'll shift to the next list. Federal government suing Texas for putting up border wire. You sent me a thing just earlier, and I'll pull up that tweet where the federal government sued Arizona for using shipping containers. They made them take it down. They sued multiple other states for that same thing. What do you think about the federal government suing Texas to make them remove barriers, buoys, border wire? What do you think?
Well, my first question is, can't the state of Texas sue the federal government for not enforcing the laws on the books? I mean, if you could sue Texas, we should be able to sue the federal government and say, listen, you're not part of our federal tax dollars. It's defense and borders. If you look what the president's job is, he doesn't do any of that. So with this lawfare going on, why not sue the federal government and say, I'm Texas, I'm Arizona. Again, you got to cut the head of the snake off somewhere. Head of the snake is, if Mexico's our ally, they need to do more than they're doing. Here's the bottom line. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this kind of resonated with me, this tweet, because I go, remember the shipping container deal? Texas builds buoy walls in a river.
Yep.
Honestly, I think, again, it's like Skittles for people. If you don't go stop it at the source, right? People Mexico's letting them come up.
Yeah.
Now, if they come from Mexico City, they can control this, but Mexico doesn't. We don't see any of our politicians, like Trump said at one point to Fox, whatever his name was, hey, we're going to make Mexico pay for the wall. The guy's like, F Trump, F this. Mexico, okay, you don't want to pay for the wall. Help us out a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, you know where these people, they're not just, they know where they're at. Most of them, when they're coming from a non-South American country or Mexico, they're flying into Mexico City. I mean, at some point they're getting a visa in Mexico, but nobody cares. You know, let's just say you can't manage the wall that quick. You go to Mexico. Hey, we need some help here. We need you to send these people back to where they came from. We can't take care. We are messed up right now. We're circling the drain, but no party cares. No politicians. I read this like we read this a lot all over. I see no politicians quoted that we need to pressure Mexico to do something to help us. I'm not saying they can fix it, but they could help. And they're not helping.
Yeah.
They're not helping us all. It's just like, again, I'm going to harp on this till the last time I'm on YouTube. How many IDF soldiers died in the GWAT? 20 years.
Yeah.
I'll wait for it. Zero. Am I against Israel? No. But when I start thinking about Israel wanted our blood and treasure, I started going around. I couldn't find anything. Called some friends of mine who have the DOD relationships. And they go, what are you, crazy asking that question, son? That's why you're demonetized. What do you got?
I see a comment here. Somebody called him Governor Hot Wheels is paying his friend that owns a busing company. I love that moniker. I love that nickname for Abbott. I will probably use Governor Hot Wheels for a while. That is a great one. My thing is today, they had 60 Republican congressmen, including this new epic loser that's the new House Speaker at the southern border in Eagle Pass, Texas. Magically, there were like 0 border crossers. And then the camera starts zooming out. They're all getting ready to leave. And like 30 illegals start swimming across the river right there in front of these 60 congressmen. But nothing's going to be done.
No. They can't do anything.
The federal government suing Texas for allowing their own sovereignty to be taken is disgusting. But I tell you something interesting that happened today. They had a handful of Democrat congressmen from Texas. They had the Democrat mayor of Denver, and they had a Democrat mayor somewhere out in Arizona. They're at the southern border with them, calling out Joe as well. And then they had the Democrat mayor in Chicago saying that they used 95 million of their pandemic relief funds for illegals. So now it's starting to hit the bottom line of the money that these Democrats would use for other little pet projects like green green energy bullshit, and it's taken away from that. And I think now we'll actually see something done. I hate to say it, when the federal government starts suing Texas, that little needle that goes kind of red, purple, blue, I think it's back all the way back over to red. And Governor Hot Wheels, I love that nickname. If he capitalizes on this, he can really do some damage to the Democrat Party, really do some damage to Joe and the Democrat Party. And I've got some information that Joe is taking care of over the next couple of days that is going to blow your damn mind. But that's what I think. I would love for one of those congressmen that were down there, one of the Republicans, to like get attacked. That's what I would like to have seen, like a attack like in Arizona where the guy jumps over the bench
Walking
at
Dead,
the
man.
judge.
I mean, just The Walking Dead.
That's
what this is. And they'll sit there and grandstand. The cartel knows these guys are coming.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they announce it. I don't need you to go to the border where there's tens of millions of videos on the internet every day on Twitter that are solid, fact-sourced videos.
Yep.
Just like I don't need you to go to a green conference in Paris. You can Zoom. You did it during Rona. Zoom.
Yeah.
I don't need the president, quite frankly, to go anywhere. All these pots should stop flying. You over the climate? I don't need you to go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's just grandstanding. We're treating like royalty. What else we got? I'm so
All right. Next up. I don't know if you saw this or not. It started out with 231 former and active duty military service members getting on a petition and a list calling for basically a military tribunal for a whole laundry list of military leaders, upper brass, to be held basically to like this Nuremberg level trial for the 8,700 military service members that were discharged because of the Fauci ouchie. They put their names on the list. You can go to American Military. I can find the link, but it's a laundry list. I mean, there's everybody from retired 07s, 6s down. The list has grown now to like 9,000 signatures. I think it's a honeypot trap. I'm not putting my name and signature on any list.
I'm already on enough lists, number one.
I'm on every list. I think it's like Ray Epps coming out with a list. What's your take on this thing?
Well, it's too big. Let's just say they came out, a bunch of guys, and they investigated, and they said, well, this wasn't good for young men. We got myocarditis in 19-year-olds we never had. We had also, even if it's a small percentage, it's 4%, 10%. We don't know long-term effects of this thing. So it's too big because I don't know how many, 60, 70 million, 100 million people in the U.S. took it, whatever the number was. Yeah. I just don't, it's too big. Because if that falls, the whole institution falls, man.
Oh, yeah.
The whole institution crumbles. Like, they have to sweep this under the rug. People are so ignorant that they go, okay, emergency use doesn't work anymore, but if it's on the children's vaccine schedule, we can force it on adults. People are so ignorant to the fact, even when they were rushing to get it, that
standing it was in line.
Use, and I go, it's not FDA approved. I go, yes, it is. I go, no, it's not. Ask the pharmacist. And the pharmacists go, well, it's emergency use approved by the FDA. I go, what does that mean? That means they didn't do any testing. And I'm not against science, but I am against, if I ask you a question, you should be able to tell me the honest answer. And the pharmacist not be scared. Oh, here's the insert. It's blank. Yeah. So they jam it onto the kids' schedule, kids' vaccine, so then they can push it. Then they don't need emergency use anymore. And people just go, well, whatever. I mean, COVID taught me a lot about the American population, in the West. People just have let it go. And they forced you to do it. People say, no, they didn't. Well, you wanted to keep your job, right? You want to stay in the military. You want to stay working at the hospital. Everybody who collected Medicare, Medicaid, all those facilities thought they were going to have to have proof. So they all forced their employees to do it. Now, you could have quit, right? But who could afford to quit when you got a job, you got a family, you got to eat? We're not talking, SS stuff here from World War II. We are talking, you had to take it. People say, well, the Nazis said that too. They were just doing their job. They needed the job. So I hear all the whataboutisms, and it's just sickening. And once I saw how Rona rolled out, it changed I could have cared two shits about abortion.
Yeah, I don't care.
I have people at that low level on the gene pool, and they can't figure out how to use protection. I don't care. But when they change the definitions, and I'll shut up, with Rona, I go, holy shit. People are running to take something they have no efficacy on. What do you
Yeah.
think, buddy?
The other thing is the trap that American people fall into. You say the word, it's a 4-letter word. You say the word free, Americans will line up in their car from here to the interstate and they will wait for days and weeks and hours and just wait. They'll idle their engines till they run out of gas. I saw it with the drive-through clinics. You say the word free, they're in. Old people, the older group latches on because they scare them into it. They're like, you're going to get polio. This is like the polio vaccine.
Yeah,
And they
right.
remember World War II being scared of polio, being scared of smallpox. And they emotionally blackmailed these people into taking this with zero evidence, just like you're saying. I know pharmacists that were like, nah, I'm not doing this. And I'm like, well, wait a second. You're passing it out. Yeah, I'm getting paid to do that, but I'm not taking it. What about your kids? No, hell no. And
No.
I'm like, pharmacist isn't doing it. Yeah, I'm out. And but I don't think these military guys, retirees, putting their name in a list is going to do shit.
No.
All it's going to do is give the federal government a list, and they'll probably go in and revoke their military retirements under some insurrection clause.
They can do that,
clause,
right?
Revoke their military retirement.
Yeah, I mean, once you retire from the military, can't they almost claw it back at some point and say,
yeah,
you did something you shouldn't have?
Yeah,
And I've heard
insurrection
of that.
clause.
Especially these big O's,
Yeah, I really think that these I like the idea, but they're idiots, and they're just going to lump them in with the Oath Keepers or whatever other hate group, and they're like, you know what, you don't want this? Beep. DFAS. They'll call up DFAS in Cleveland. Hey, stop these guys' retirement checks. They'll call up the VA in Wisconsin. Hey, stop their disability checks. The 100% disabled guy, stop that. Bye. And stop their VA healthcare. Bye. I'm just like, be quiet, hang out in the shadows, mind your own business, take your vitamin D, take your vitamins, just leave well enough alone. This is the wrong time to start crap like this. They're playing with fire. They're going to get their hands burnt.
I
But
agree.
that's my take on that. That's my take on it. I got you another good topic here. We'll stick with the military. I know you'll like this. You like the devil's lettuce. So Uncle Joe Biden just removed and dumped out, basically just to let a lot of people out of jail that were arrested for marijuana. And the big thing now, I saw it on military.com, and I'm just like, what mouth breather wrote this article? And the article was, should the people that got kicked out of the military for smoking marijuana be allowed back in or have their discharges upgraded now because Uncle Joe removed this marijuana clause? I'm sure you got some people that got kicked out when you were in for smoking weed, but
yeah,
what's your take on the marijuana thing that Uncle Joe just did?
Well, I would suspect the big bulk of the people that got let out are of color. Call me crazy, but
sure,
disproportionate to the population percentage. First of all, number one, and they're not going to do anything with the military. They don't care, man.
No,
if people who are out, like I knew going in, my grandfather served in the Battle of Bulge War II. My uncle was injured in Tet Offense, a brain injury, was a vegetable for 32 years at a VA nursing home, couldn't talk. I was exposed to my grandfather said, you're going to the Marine Corps, you're going to be cannon fodder. He didn't dislike it, but he was honest. He said, at that point, there was no war. He says, if there's a war, you'll be cannon fodder. That's what he said. So he knew that and realized the VA came on, 47, wasn't even around when he went in. So I knew what you got. And I never thought I would need it. But I guess my point is they don't care about the military. Are you kidding me?
No, they don't.
They don't give raises commensurate with what the Congress gets raises on. These little piddly raises don't keep up with inflation for people who don't make a lot. Now, I do think a lot of jobs in the military can be cushy for some dudes, but they don't care. Nobody cares. If they have limited people have served, limited people deployed, you small people into combat, they could care less, man. I mean, you got some decent people the VA run into. But putting your name on a list like that, you're asking for trouble. You're asking not to get the board seats that you would have had before.
Yeah.
The $200,000 gigs on the lower tier levels because you're not that high where you can go show up twice a year in the Bahamas, get paid. then tell your buddies that still work at the DOD at the Pentagon, hey, use this piece of equipment. It's just hard for me to believe they don't care. And, I know a lot of guys want to hear it, but I did that video popped off again with that soldier burn his flag or burn his uniform. Also, I look at my analytics, the YouTube's keep on the money on. I go, wow, that video popped off. It's got a couple million views, right? But I said, hey, bro, that woman doesn't care about how many tours you're in combat. You expecting her to care means you're delusional. Now, you may not like that. You may think, well, she should care. I was fighting for freedom, that whole old adage. Guess what? She doesn't care. She'll never understand how you feel. Don't expect her to. You thinking that makes you a crazy person. Time to come up. And having buddies saying, listen, I've had buddies like that. They worked under me. I was a squad leader. Went on to do 30 years in the Marine Corps. They come out, they're messed up. This, you always told me, it's a big green machine, bro. Enjoy your time, but the big green machine marches on. You expected Joe down the street when you got blown up 4 times, you had TBIs, to help you when you need help. They don't understand. They're not going to understand. They don't know. They don't care. Yeah. So anybody who thinks that, I have to say, I want to just smack them and go, listen, wake up. Let's face reality. Hey, boys may like you. They got their own life too. So you did it. You ran the gauntlet. And if you got burned, okay. But it's done. It's done. So that really chaps me. It's like, wake up. You think that Dan Crenshaw, the Latrell, whatever his name is, those guys get in, and I see them do nothing, and they use their vet bro status to get in. And my time's up.
They do. My take on this whole marijuana thing: you join the military, you sign your rights away, whether it goes with the Fauci or smoking the marijuana. They repeal the marijuana thing. They legalize marijuana. We get Kamala in as a VP. She put more Black American men in jail for marijuana than you can possibly imagine in California as district attorney. There's still people in prison in California.
She was the attorney general.
Yeah, attorney general, and like a DA in San Francisco. She put more people in prison for that. There's still people rotting in probably San Quentin for marijuana charges under her. She goes on Charlemagne the God and talks about smoking weed, listening to Tupac. They pass. They're trying to redeem this federal marijuana law. Everywhere you live, there's dispensaries. There's still people in prison because of her. And the people that got kicked out of the military because they were smoking the devil's lettuce, left-handed cigarettes, whatever you want to call it. And now they're crying. I'm just like, you're idiots, because it's just a conundrum. I think it is hilarious. It's amazing. We find booger sugar in the White House and we're worried about marijuana. Come on. It's just
the
epic.
crazy part.
It's ironic.
I was taught very quickly in the military from guys that were on the edge, right? I knew exactly the half-life, how long stuff is in your system.
Yeah.
I knew weed's in your system 30 days.
I think, it's a couple of weeks, 30 days. Yeah.
30 days. You could do all these things to get your system. You smoke that, the nose candy, MDMA, all that kind of stuff was like 3-day half-life.
Yeah.
If you do that, you have to be out of your mind. We used to have the meat gazers come on a regular basis. Yeah. And I remember some guys that you're talking about. I remember him walking out and he was crying. He said, I was at a reggae concert or whatever. I don't know if he was or wasn't. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't smoke weed with the guy.
Yep.
But I don't think you should ruin a guy's life over something like that. They said, okay, we changed it. Your other non-honorable discharge, but the military has a bandwidth to do that. They're supposed to fix COVID discharges.
Yeah.
That won't get done. I mean,
no,
my wife's discharge my wife was an SRU, Soldier Recovery Unit, right? They couldn't get her discharged. I mean, it's impossible. The amount of incompetency, all these layers, and part of the incompetency, is you have so many civilian employees now. I was shocked. I went to Deers. I'm like, what is going on here? My wife, and like I have DOD files that go way back. He's like, you got this file over here. You got her. They were so confused, but you had this. I go, I'm just her dependent. I'm here with her. She's trying to get me out as a dependent me to walk with and she'd given her marriage certificate like 3 times. We've been married like 12, 10 years at this point. Oh, you're married? I'm like, we've been married. We've given it to you like, and so they'll back pay, but it's just, again, I don't give more money to the government because they're incompetent. I mean, she's a major. She's not like some random specialist. And they just go, oh, whatever. Some civilian play. I don't care. What else, man?
Next up, you were talking military. Just saw a lieutenant colonel in the Spaceforce, Spaceforce cadet that used to be a dude, now transitioned to this Space Force cadet transgender, just got promoted to lieutenant colonel, which is 05 for most of y'all that don't understand the rank structure. Then it's full bird colonel, and then 1-star, 2-star. How far do you think this person's career is going to go? I say next Joint Chiefs of Staff, fast promote, 3-star, 4-star, skip full bird. Said our greatest strength
Right.
in the military is diversity. What do you think about this diverse military?
Well, I saw a congressman say, I'm the first homosexual and Hispanic congressman. I mean, that was his whole shtick, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, you name a bill you've sponsored, what you've done for your constituents. So I don't really care if the person was outstanding, but their whole discussion in that Twitter clip you're talking about was about how diversity is our greatest strength. Not diversity of thought in the military is not your greatest strength, period. And the whole point of training is to get your diversity out of you so you at least can work as a unit. I don't care what color you are. I don't think America is a diverse place. I grew up with black kids, Hispanic kids. I don't even know Jewish kids, all sorts of kids. I never even thought about it. Why did I think about it? Because those were my neighbors. That's what I had, right? I didn't live in like lily white neighborhood. I played sports in Florida. Guess what? 60% of the kids who played were black kids. So guess what? That was my friends.
Yeah.
So when you see this person getting up and their greatest thing is they transition, what are they doing? And now they're taking away from their job. They're just going to be pushing this nonstop. I mean, you see that where they came up, they're showing all this. I'm like, if they were, again, if these people were happy, super efficient, effective, and lethal at their jobs, and they said, okay, guys, listen, I know this is kind of odd to you. This person is so good at computer programming or managing a programming division.
There you go. There you go.
I would go, great. But all they talk about is this. It's embarrassing. All they talk about is their sexuality. Go, what else do you have here? Do you have anything else? You're a lieutenant colonel in the Space Force. I don't know what they even do. I don't even get Space Force, but why we need another branch of the military is stupid to begin with. But needless to say, this is it right here.
Yeah.
You want to lead men in combat? Well, these people aren't, but you want to lead men. Most of the military is men. Reality check, everybody.
Yep.
Most of it's men. You want to lead men. Yeah, you got these. Oh, I know my time. I got a sec. That Army sniper.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I got on the record. I have to look at my email. I have been delinquent. Somebody who served with her up until she got sergeant, spent time, and I got confirmation this person's legit with pictures. And they said they just pushed her up. They go, oh, she's a woman, bro. She's a woman. All the command, she's a woman. Got to get her there. And everybody in the unit despises the person. Said she was average, but that average person would never got pushed up like they did. I mean, you're talking pushed up to sergeant like a 2-year sergeant or something, and then pushed into sniper. Just like I got that video James's travels about Ranger School, and some guy who was a Ranger retired. I kind of used his content, and you're not having a 30-year-old mother of 2 making it through Ranger School. You're not having them make it through SOI at Paris Island. Exceptions apply to everything. But I'm not basing the way I structure my military, which we just need bodies, cookie cutters, on exceptions to the rule. That's just it. I mean, you could have a 7'5" guy working a sub. You know, think of the Spurs guy who was a Naval Academy dude.
David
right?
Robinson. Yeah.
He grew up like a freak, and they're like, we should let you out. You're not a sub guy anymore. You could have one that worked, but you're not going to put a bunch of 7'5" dudes to sub. I mean, you know, what do you think?
I think the military, the Air Force, the Space Force, all branches should come out with a new warfare pin. And it should look like we had a term in the Navy. It was called Bohica, bend over, here it comes again. And I think they should have a Bohica warfare pin. And it should be basically a picture of somebody bent over, grabbing their ankles. And this should be like their own MOS. This should be an MOS. And I blame this strictly on the United States Army. And I hope we have some U.S. Army people in the chat, people watching this. I blame this on the U.S. Army, and I blame this on one person, Klinger, the show MASH. This all freaking started with MASH. You saw Klinger standing outside with the M1A1, and he had like high heels on, and he was saluting with radar, and Harry Potter could have squashed this. Harry Potter, Henry Blake, They could have both fixed it, but you had Hawkeye and you had Pierce that just promoted it. So I'm blaming it on CBS because it came on right after 60 Minutes. MASH came on right after that. They promoted it. Klinger, Jamie Farr. It started with that. And now people are living Jamie Farr's reality. It's the new reality. This guy was a decorated, I say decorated. He was a major. He was a single dude. He goes online, meets a woman. I did some research, meets a woman online. They go out on a couple of dates. He's like, hey, I'm a chick. And she's like, oh, okay, cool. I like chicks too. They get married. She's got 2 kids, a girl and a boy. I feel so sorry for the little boy. And now they are a thing. But I'm like, so you like chicks, but you only want to like chicks as a chick. I'm just so confused. It blows my mind. And this person, mental health wise, lunatic, but maintains the highest level SSBI Rampart runner security clearance.
Right. I mean,
That's
you
what
remember
bothered me.
not long ago, you would make it through MEPS if you came in and you had some mental health issue. And you go, well, we don't need this because we don't have to get through training. And the officer corps is not easy. If you go ROTC, it's not an easy thing to get into.
Yeah.
And you've got a clear mental illness. If I think I'm Batman, I'm not Batman. I keep saying it, and you affirm I'm Batman. You have to say, JT, you should seek help.
Yeah.
Now, again, if we never heard about this person, Lieutenant Colonel Susie Q, just went on their way. And then the Advocate highlighted some military members on their magazine. I go, okay, I never heard about this person. Great. But it's constantly pushing barrage of people. They're better than you.
Yep.
And we know they're not. We saw the memo from the DOD saying they don't have to meet military PT standards or fitness standards or height, weight standard, anything. So we saw that. It's linked in one of my videos. If you guys want to see it, if you go back to, I think it was about the Studying of Braves. And I have a link. If it's still there. The DOD's website on this.
Yeah.
And you just go, what are we doing? Does this make us? It used to be, we ought to be more lethal. You heard that. That was the talking point.
Oh, yeah.
In the early 2000s, more lethal. This isn't about lethality. If I hear one more time, diversity is greatest strength, the whole point of military training is to get you thinking as a unit, as a team, whatever, That's
Shoot,
the point.
move, communicate.
Not diverse.
That's what we were taught.
Not diverse. If guys want to do their own thing and they're so diverse on a ship or submarine and they want to do it their way versus the SOP, things aren't going to go right because you're jamming people into very significant positions, like on subs and ships with, a year's worth of training, often very important positions in a quick time, where in the real world, they never find that much importance of the equipment they're operating. It would take them 10 years if they ever saw it. And so that is why this stuff has to be taken seriously. A JTAC guy, a guy who's sitting there on the comms. He can't just be diverse and do it his way. Otherwise, you're going to get the blue on blue.
Yep.
What else we got?
Next up, I just downloaded a new app for my phone, and it's called the Autopilot app. And I don't know if you know about this, but if I were you, I would download it. Everybody watching, Autopilot app. It's available on iOS. It is an application that will track and show you the real-time stock trading for all sitting members of Congress and the Senate. Shows you their trends, because an article just came out yesterday through Breitbart. The top 3 stock traders were a Democrat out of Virginia, followed closely by Nancy Pelosi and everybody's favorite one-eyed pirate patch seal, Dan Crenshaw. Dan Crenshaw was 22% ahead of the S&P average, meaning he had a 22% advantage of the average stock trader. Nancy Pelosi was 29, and this other guy, Higgins, at 31. This app tracks their stock trades, and I am about to mimic everything that Nancy does. She buys stock in men's tampons in Canada. I'm buying stock in men's tampons in Canada because she knows all these things. She knows everything that's going on.
What is NVIDIA, whatever it is, the graphics chip maker?
The graphics cards. Yep.
Chips Act, which funded them a fortune.
So what do you think about my big question? What do you think about unregulated share trading, stock trading for sitting members of Congress?
No,
They're
it needs to
trying to
stop
get this
immediately.
passed. They're trying to get it
Immediate,
passed.
immediately needs to stop because they have inside information and they know how the voting is going to go and they know what they're going to tell the lobbyists and they know where this is going. They know that lobbyist has been, trying to garner money from the government. They know if they're getting it. They know they're not getting it. Legislation's coming on the pikes and to change things. They know things, insider information. You and I did that, we'd be in prison.
Oh, yeah.
Bottom line, that needs to stop immediately. These people have the best of all worlds, are making way too much money for what they do. They walk out of there as multimillionaires after making $1.75 a year. You do that math. What's her name? AOC is worth $30 million now. Kane worth negative 8,000. Until we get that, I don't understand how anybody could agree with that. But both parties are running the scam.
There it is right there. Crenshaw, Pelosi, McConnell, Goldman among top 23 stock traders. Dan Crenshaw. What a hero.
Well, what you'll see is Dan is a big rhino, and it may be, hey, Dan, we'll cut you in. You can legally stock trade. You can get legal inside information. We'll cut you in this time. The next year, you need to slow back down. Just go with the S&P, and then I'll do it. I think they can't have them all doing it at once. They all have different grifts. Like you're Dan, you're a Harvard guy.
Oh, here we go. Crenshaw's up 38%. 38%. Pelosi's up 65% above the average. Mitch McConnell, 18%.
I don't get how anybody can be pro this when if you worked at a law firm and you knew you're about to settle for a huge judgment against Pfizer.
Yeah.
Right. Huge. I mean, guys, quadrillion dollars. Alex Jones level judgment. And you said, I'm going to go short Pfizer. You would be put in jail. You had insider information. So, but nowhere else, people are so ignorant. They don't go to the representative. This needs to change immediately. People on Twitter are arguing about Israel and Gaza, and then these people are stealing from the Treasury blind. And just go, well, what are we going to do? They're royalty, bro.
This is the app right here. Autopilot investment app directly links to your brokerage account. You can follow the trades of sitting members of Congress and do it in real time, just like they are.
How live could they be? Because how often do they have to report their stock holdings?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think they change their positions. Most of these government things are 30 days notice or, 30-day requirement, or they're not doing it. There's no way it could be live what they're actually trading because they may buy new stocks. Like it would have to be tied to their actual account. They have to assume that's the only account they have. It seems like it'd be tough.
Yeah. I downloaded it. I put some cash in there. I put a couple of grand in there. And I'm waiting for Nancy to short the men's tampon stocks in Alberta. And I'm buying the shit out of them. I'm buying some tampons, baby.
She's going long and everything.
I'm going long on the tampons. I mean, the crazy part is I think this is prison material.
Well, they go, well, whatever. They get $1 million, $900,000 for Congress. Senate's like $1.5 million per year slush fund, used for whatever you want, and nothing happens. They're not covered under the Affordable Care Act. I mean, the list is so long. I'm sure if you do one term in Congress, you have a pension already for your life. I'm sure.
It is. It's one term. Mm-hmm.
So one term, you have a pension the rest of your life.
Same with the Senate. Yep.
Does that make any sense to anybody here? Nope. You served 19 years in the military and you don't have a med discharge. Guess what? Sorry, buddy. You served one term, 2 years in Congress. You get a lifetime pension. Are you fucking kidding me? People just go, well, they're royalty. Because people are they're busy watching Netflix, smoking weed, checking out Yellowstone.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't spend the 15 minutes to say, hey, I need to write a letter to my Congress douche and email. They're too busy with everything else. And meanwhile, that's how this happened. Now, obviously, me included, it's been going on a long time, but, we're conquered, my friends. Don't kid yourself. You're not going to see any list that's going to make any difference. No one's going to get prosecuted. Maybe there's some, unless they're going to throw like a Harvey Weinstein kind of deal, but it won't happen to these people. They're above Harvey Weinstein. He must have pissed off the wrong person.
Yeah, no kidding, right? No kidding. All right, so I got another one for you. And I'm going to bring this up. I'll bring it up right here. Talking to corruption. And this is straight out of everyone's favorite state, New Jersey, where the Sopranos went. And this is
Oh my God. Menendez again.
this is Gold Bar Bob. He's now accused of accepting bribes from the Qatari royal family. He's still in Congress. They got rid of Santos very quick. This guy was accepting gold watches and Rolexes. I've got a Rolex. It was given to me. I didn't buy it. And he was accepting gold watches. This guy sat on the House Ways and Means Committee, basically directing government contracts and government funding to other countries. Why? Answer me this. Riddle me this, Batman. Why is Menendez still in? Why have we allowed this?
Remember, this isn't Menendez's first dance here.
No,
He
second
already
time.
had an investigation before. Don't remember the charge, but it was another corruption charge.
More
I think
corruption.
there's probably been 2 or 3.
Yep.
And it's not like it was so unfounded. They just go, that's fake news. That's the white, right saying this. It was so damning. They had to go through the motions. They said not guilty. I mean, this doesn't surprise me. And he must have nude pictures of somebody with small children because he keeps getting off, right? Now that is the thing. And the problem is this: the Democrats won't come after the guy.
No,
I
won't touch
don't know
him.
what
He's
his,
got dirt on
what his
somebody.
district looks like, if there's a strong candidate, but he fits a bill. He's been in there. He's entrenched. He'll
Yep.
walk out with $200 million. That's what we see. What's in his gun safe at home is probably, $1 million, $2 million in gold bullion.
And they
He's got
had
a history.
they had like Kuwaiti and Iraqi stamps on the gold bars.
Yeah, he's got a history of corruption. This isn't the first time. It's not like some right-wing thing where they're like, oh my God, look at this guy. But the problem becomes you've got people like Chris Christie and these douches, Nikki Haley, and they're all just taking care of each other, and they're never going to change anything until you demand change. I don't know what is it, 65 for a military officer, right?
Yeah.
You got to get out. We keep these people till they're not capable, and military officers, people that don't know, they think, well, he's PT of the troops. They're out there humping the gear. I mean, no, they're not. Some desk job. They're very capable. You can be very capable, but you're doing leadership, basically.
Yeah.
You're not swinging the hammer, but they're gone, man. Get out. 65, you're gone. But yet we keep these people till they're just like on death's door. I can think of many of them, like Strom Thurmond, 90 years old. Wait, what's a Barbara Boxer?
Yeah.
She's like, I voted on that, and the reporter's like, you weren't here. You've been at home.
Yeah, you've been at home in a iron lung.
You got Fetterman. My wife had a carotid dissection, which caused a stroke. Very familiar with this. Very familiar. She went to go to. She was in speech therapy. Fortunately, it happened when she was on duty, because the therapy she got from TRICARE, she never got on the outside. Speech therapy 5 days a week. Fetterman is bad, I can tell you. In other words, your patience, your ability to think under stress. And we don't need a lot from the guy, but they wouldn't say anything. And then he was in the hospital for like 2 weeks or 2 months with some suicide issues or depressed or whatever he was. I'm sure he's a great guy if you know him, but he's not mentally there. But they're not going to do anything. He'll stay in that position until he dies.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
There in front of the coal factory and go, oh, look, there's a coal factory by my house, not coal, but steel behind my house. I believe in coal, knowing all along that steel is gone, man. When I hear people talk about kinetic warfare, I go, you never hear about China for a good reason. They hold all the cards. In a second, they go, guess what? We're not sending any more of the raw material to India to package up your prescription medications. Oh, you're worried about insulin? We just shut you off. Don't mess with us. They can shut off our pharmaceuticals. 97% are generic, of which nearly 100% come from China, packaged in India. We are done. That's just the tip of the iceberg. They're talking about insulin. Where does the insulin come from? Oh, it comes from a pig's pancreas. I mean, where does it come from? Shitbag. People are morons.
Mm-hmm.
I used to try to lead people to water, but I don't think people care anymore. Not the people watching here, but average Joe is just so hung up with their Facebook thing, and they're trying to get in Texas Roadhouse early to throw peanuts on the ground. They just don't give a shit about how they're governed. And who is the pilot? I can't remember, who said, those that don't fight or care about the freedom don't deserve freedom. They deserve tyranny. I'm butchering.
I think it was Ben Franklin.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Something along those lines. Yeah. And that's what, you deserve that. And young people that love this, I go, you can hate me, but I made my bones, bro. I don't go to a 9 to 5. I worked myself into a grave, spent time working abroad. It was you know how it is. You're walking for abroad. You don't pay federal tax for a while. Stack that money up, live cheap, put 10 years off my life doing stupid shit.
Yep.
So it doesn't affect me is my point. I don't have to get for 9 to 5 a day. When you're sitting there walking to the grave and you're like, wow, I have an EV car. We should have diesel at $10 a gallon. I go, enjoy. You'll never afford a house. You'll never pay your bills. You'll always be working. And they just keep walking towards it. They don't care. They don't get it. And my youngest daughter's like that. She's 24 years old. If you talk to her about it, she go, it's just, it's the system. It's patriarchy. We should bring it down. I go, what's the system would look like? Somebody's going to be in charge. Tell me a better country to go to. Okay, I'll stop my rant, but tell me one.
I can't think of one. I really can't. Next up. Okay, this should be a good one. Charlemagne the God. Joe Biden went on his show during the election and said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Well, now Charlemagne the God came out yesterday. And just so everybody knows, Charlemagne the God's a convicted felon. He attacked some people down in South Carolina, did some time. Now he wears a lot of makeup. Nobody recognizes him from his mugshot. But he's got a radio show with about 80 million listeners, whatever. But now he's come out and said he's not going to vote for Biden. Kamala Harris has been in hiding. He is going the opposite way. And I think he's going to throw his support behind Trump. What does that do to the Biden campaign? What does it do to the Black Americans? What do you think?
I don't think it changes the equation very much. I mean, I've heard so many times, we got the black vote. I just don't think it changes. I think it's too little, too late. You're not getting people motivated enough to go. I think there'll be certain people just get pushed into it. I don't think it matters enough. I haven't seen any historic anything. We had the midterms right then. I didn't see the black vote change. We're not that far off from it. So I just don't feel like it matters enough to change the course of this election. I think the media controls it. I think the minion machines, not being on ballots, all these moving parts, people get burned out. People in the middle just get so burned out, they go, you know what? I just can't. I don't care anymore. Trump's going to be another drama session. The media's going to. Now, they may like what Trump does and was doing. They don't want the media and browbeat and the neighbors wearing the MAGA thing. He's fighting with the neighbor, the coexist shirt. They're at each other. People just want to go back to some sort of normal politics, but we're never going back there. I don't care who you put in there. Now, if I put Nikki Haley in, there'll be controlled opposition. But Trump was such a wild card they never thought would win, and they just go out. He'll play along. No, he just didn't play along. His mouth didn't stop, never stopped. And the terrifying part is he's terrible at picking help. So I don't know where he goes. Like everybody, he has so many people turn and write books, and that's a scary part. He's not good at picking help. He puts his trust in wrong people. He's not tweeting. It's not a stupid platform. I don't even look at it. That was his thing. Maybe he's got strategic planning, 4D chess, but I don't see the groundswell, and I hope I'm totally wrong. That's all I got.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think this Charlemagne the God is just a shot across the bow to the Democrat Party that's saying y'all need to shake something up. Is it going to change anything? Probably not. I don't listen to Charlemagne the God. It's not my niche. He's very popular. He's in New York City. There's a lot of black voters that apparently follow him. And there's a lot of people that weren't black that became black by voting for Joe Biden. But it just seems like the fallback plan, the safety net is always go back to race politics. That's all they're doing. I mean, Joe Biden brings out his inner Lyndon B. Johnson to get votes, and that's it. I mean, that's it. And if the people watching this know exactly what we're talking about, because Lyndon B. said he promised the black vote for 150 years after building the ghetto, and that's what he did. And he put the street Martin Luther King Boulevard is in every major city in America. It's usually in the bad part of town or the urban part of town, and it resonates with black people. They're reminded of it. Martin Luther King was a great American. He liked women, but he was a great dude and he did a lot. And everything that he said in his I Have a Dream speech, I want my little kids to be judged by the content of their character, not by the color of their skin. And now the Democrat Party is picking and choosing vice presidential candidates by the color of the skin and the race and color. They pick Supreme Court justices by race and color. They pick the Harvard dean by race and color. Everything is picked by race and color. The same way that you pick cows when you go to the sale barn, you want a brown heifer, you want a black bull. That's the way you buy it. The same way 90% of Americans get a family pet. I want a brown retriever, female. I don't want any puppies. I want a white male retriever. No puppies. That's the same way. Kamala Harris was picked the same way when somebody goes to a damn animal shelter and picks a pet. That's it. Race and gender and color. That's it. And that's my rant with Charlemagne. And I'd love to debate anybody on it because you can't win. I'm right.
Well, that's a lot of power to keep this group over here and say, "Oh, I protect you from the really mean Republicans that hate you," but yet everything. It wasn't this way even in the 70s when I grew up in the 80s. It wasn't this way. It's changed radically, and they made people dislike each other for no reason. They're both two poor kids, two poor families in the same shitty neighborhood, same bad schools.
Yeah.
What else we got?
Next up, this will be a good one. USA. How much women's boxing do you watch? You watch a lot of women's boxing?
No.
I haven't, but I just signed up to watch like the next 17 pay-per-views for women boxing because USA, and I'll start this one off. USA Women's Boxing is now allowing transgenders to compete. And Mike Tyson just changed his name to Michelle. Evander Holyfield just changed his name to Evelyn. Roy Jones just changed his name to Rhonda. And we're about to get it on. And there's going to be some really good boxing. And they're going to be dropping the hammer on some bitches. And I hope we see Michelle Tyson versus Michelle Obama in a loser leave the name match. I can't wait for USA Boxing. If I can find, I used to box when I was in the Navy. I boxed in the Navy. We used to do some boxing smokers with the Marines. It was fun as hell. And I cannot wait. Women's boxing is going to overtake Ultimate Fighting Championship and the slap hero crap. Women's boxing's back on the map. Don King just rolled over in his grave because he didn't think of this shit first. I cannot wait. And the South Park sketch where it shows like Macho Man Randy Savage. South Park has predicted all this shit, and it's epic. And I can't wait to see some chick. I want Brittany Griner to go into boxing, and I want Mike Tyson to, the guy from Catskill, New York, with the gold teeth and the high pitched voice. I can't wait. I will pay money to see Mike Tyson in a sports bra knock some chick out. I can't wait. I want Megan Rapinoe from the American soccer team to go into boxing now. Her and Hope Solo should become boxers. I will probably dust off the gloves, say my name is Brenda. I'm going from Ben to Brenda. I'm going to drop a little weight, get me a sports bra. I'm going into women's boxing. Gold gloves. I don't even know if it'll be gloves. Gold bras. Here I come. I can't wait. What's your take on this? What do you think? Women's sports with the transgender movement.
Well, everybody knows it doesn't make any sense. I mean, I bet nobody who's like, this is totally makes sense. I have met nobody in real life. And I meet leftists and they go, well, of course it doesn't make sense. My daughter played soccer and I watch the boys. They're a lot rougher. I'm like, yeah, no kidding. That's no shit, Sherlock. The people who talk about it, it's like the dork prom. I mean, it just doesn't work. And then people go, well, we had the Venus Williams came out and said men are totally different game in tennis. And she played like the 200 and something place 10th tennis player and lost as a number one. She said it's a different game. Now, I could still enjoy like tennis if I see the two going on. I'm not a tennis guy, but to me, it looks not far different, right? I could watch like women's volleyball. I'm like, wow, but certain things like women's basketball, I find it incredibly boring. I don't watch soccer. Okay. Women's the whole thing. So, but saying, why do we have, I mean, if you're going to do that, just get rid of all women's teams in college.
Yeah. Why not?
Like we're talking about the football coach in your state. And then all of a sudden drop in a bunch of women on the team for diversity hires and watch the money train go like this down. As they're playing lingerie football, people don't want to watch it. It's like the NFL, where penalizing guys for big hits and selling the NFL's greatest hits tapes. That's just what it is. Anybody who says it makes sense to have people like me competing against 13-year-old women in swimming, saw that in Canada,
Yep.
is out of their mind.
Yeah.
Now, you could say they're the nicest person in the world. Susie which was Joe's, the nicest man in the world. I go, okay, I understand. But you saying they should be able to compete against a young woman is crazy talk. My daughter played varsity basketball in high school. I played basketball, and I'm a lot older, knees back. When I was capable of even getting out and just kind of help working her up. I could box her out, push her out of the way. It was just different. That was like, she was a young, healthy, in great shape, but it's different. So as long, I don't know how anybody can think that. You've never played sports. If you say, no, it's no difference. Well, you never played sports before. I mean,
in that picture, the chick in the middle is a dude. The one on the right is a dude. The one on the left is a real chick, like sit down to pee chick.
I don't get in competitive sports. If they want to have like an open league and they want to fight and they want to see their woman, it's open. They're just fighting fine. But it's sports. The whole concept is you put people close enough where you don't know who's going to win, right? People can be bigger, taller. That little guy wins. He's still exciting. But the whole point was it was close enough where it was entertaining.
Yeah.
Now, if it's going to be a blowout, you don't want to watch the game unless it's your team. You want to see your buddies and get hammered.
Yeah.
But you want to watch, you don't know. It's push-pull. And we lumped men by weight classes and other things in some sports because it made it more competitive.
Yep.
You don't want to watch you don't want to watch the varsity play the freshman team. You just go, I'm not going to watch this.
This comment from Turd Ferguson makes me want to vomit, but it's also funny because I like the sick sense of humor. The women's beach volleyball, I love that. And he says, keep women in women's sport, especially beach volleyball. I don't want to see some dude's nuts hanging out of a tight set of shorts pretending to be a chick. But some dude is going to put on female thong and they're going to dominate women's beach volleyball, and it's going to piss me off. And
at some point, you just have to go, okay, how much sports you now want me to watch and care about?
Yeah.
Because these universities now are making so much money off these sports. If you crush it, they're going to be happy not making the money because people aren't going to watch. They go, the women's soccer team get what the men's get. Well, they don't have the same viewership. The WNBA doesn't have the same viewership. If half the country is women, if all that half the country women watched it, it'd be booming. But they don't. Women don't watch their own thing. So. The
WNBA is funded by the NBA. So I blame women because they're not even supporting their own sport. We go to Razorback women's basketball games all the time because I referee basketball. I know some of the girls and kids that play. So we'll go. Razorback Stadium, Bud Walton Arena holds 18,000 people. For a men's game, it's nut to butt. For a women's game, there's 2,000 people, maybe. And it's $10 for a ticket, sit anywhere you want. For a men's game to sit down low, it's like $500 and you got to pay $6,000 a year to be like a Razorback sponsor. Women's sports can't even pay for themselves.
Right.
But now you're going to let men interject and take it over. I'm being facetious saying I'm going to watch women's boxing. It's disgusting. I don't want to see anybody get hurt.
It's not entertaining. It's not
entertainment
anymore. Yeah. It's like saying, okay, here's a vertically challenged person against Shaquille O'Neal playing basketball.
Yep.
You wouldn't watch it unless you just go, well, that's not really fair. And, if that's where the military part got me when they go, well, women and men train together in the military. It doesn't work that way. You mean to tell me I went from my high school playing as grown men, young men in high school football. So now I'm going to boot camp and I'm running with women and PTing with women when I PT with real men. Well, it's not going to be the same. And when I was in, there was no ladies in the training. But now, can women fit in? Of course they could. You're talking a physical event, the Marine Corps, runs, O-course, on the quarterdeck. They just couldn't hang. I mean, anybody who thinks otherwise is kidding themselves. I don't hear about these random exceptions. You can do plenty of jobs, but the part when it gets to the humping the gear, 30 miles, getting over walls with 100 pounds of kit on, long day, men are just built differently.
I'm going to show you an image here. This is the transgender ultimate fighting woman, was a dude, transferred over to a woman. I'm going to show you an image here. Competed as a woman and fractured this other girl's skull. The dude on the left fractured the girl on the right skull. Person on the left, former dude, higher testosterone than either one of us combined. chick on the right, fractured skull, ended career, almost ended her life. That is someone's daughter on the right competing against a grown ass man, and that is not fair, and it's dangerous. It is absolutely
Of course,
dangerous.
he's an old Navy, old sailor, that guy too on the left.
Oh yeah, yeah. Go Squids, go Squids.
Well,
Never.
I joke because there's enough Marine scumbags, but
It's
you
pitiful.
see that and people go, and I can see the point. This is the empathy trap. I did that on Winston Blair. You feel bad. You go, well, this person left Fallon. They're nice and hurt their feelings. Okay, but there's got to be some rules, like ground rules. Like, okay, you understand. I understand you're a woman. I get it. The best among us. All those things.
Yep.
But you're not fighting against a woman because that makes sense. What to
No.
be competitive for?
No.
You go, well, I saw a woman in training. And okay, I don't want exceptions and stupid shit. Because on scale, this doesn't work. I mean,
Yeah.
simply put.
Yeah. It's pitiful. I wish women the best, but your time in sports, Billie Jean King should roll over in her grave. I think only one real woman athletes came out, like Martina Navratilova,
Right.
lesbian tennis player, great legend. And even she says it. Even was it Venus Serena? I don't know which one, said like the worst man would dominate her.
I think I was Serena. I think I said Venus earlier.
Yeah.
I think it was Venus. Serena said, well, she lost to like a 200 something place because she was, I guess playing with him to get her game up. And she's like, men's tennis is a different game.
Dominated.
Now, I could watch both. And again, if go forward with that, people say, well, you're a misogynist. I go, look at medical schools, law schools, the best ones. Those are typically high paying jobs. They're dominated by women. My daughter graduated from dental school. I look at the dental school class and I look at the medical school class, and it's 75% women. So I don't feel bad.
Yeah.
They're getting in and doing just fine. If you go to a hospital, like when I see young doctors now, they're primarily women. So yeah, women are tending to do better in professional schools. Why that is, I don't know. But just go look at a graduating class, you'll go, wow, they're all Indian or they're women. Indian as in dot, not feather.
Yeah.
So until we get our wrap our minds around that some people, now why that is, on the women's side, it's not as much a diversity thing as if you're a black woman, you will get in at about a 5 times pitch clip than a white man in medical schools. Those MCAT scores came out in the Harvard lawsuit. So,
Next up, I got another good topic for you right here. This is another one that I think there's something deeper to what the hell's actually going on. And I'll let you run with this first because I think I've got a little bit different take. But everybody knows the Harvard dean. She was making almost $1 million a year as the Harvard dean. She had a bunch of plagiarism stuff going on, and she had to resign. I'll let you jump on this and see what you think, and feel free.
She had a plagiarism. Then she was pro Gaza. Then got in front of Congress and said, "I don't take anything back." I said, "There's lots of things said that shouldn't be said by someone at that level, right?" You can say, "Hey, we want a humanitarian effort around the world, Gaza included." What I see on the news in Israel seems like it's not the humanitarian love we want. You could say something very easy.
Yeah,
they don't have to. She knew exactly what she said was off-putting, because I don't think it has anything to do with the plagiarism, because there's about 1,000 proof tweets with her plagiarizing work. It's a known thing. I don't think she resigned because of that. And yet people still come out and go, well, it's racist that she resigned and still makes $1 million a year as a professor. Since the late 60s, we've dumbed down institutions of higher learning and had diversity hires en masse. It's not making the candidates that are solid, that are diversities, it takes away from their achievements. Clarence Thomas said that he graduated from Yale, that every law firm thought a diversity hire because most of them were diversities admissions. And, you get somebody smart and you're jammed. I would never want to get a position because of my diversity, because people are going to judge me for that. These people don't care. She was like, whatever. I said it. Yeah, I support Gaza. And you saw some big Jewish donors, benefactors say, well, I'm not giving you $200 million this year. Go pound sand. This thing, I think their endowment's got, I don't know, $800 million.
Lost $1 billion. Lost $1 billion. $1 billion.
$1 billion. and we're helping subsidize their loans. How about these people back the loans that are $1 billion, loan the money for these degrees that are worthless to these kids, let them pay it back to the foundation, the endowment, if they believe in it. But they
Yeah.
don't. They want you and me to pay for it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we got to back the loans. And these
Yeah.
people don't pay. Somebody's invested here somewhere. So there's no free lunch, but people just go, well, I don't care. But the things, economy, borders, that's all I really care about. I understand there's so many moving parts. You and I are engaged with this. We're reading, keeping track of it, trying to formulate our thoughts in a fashion like just common sense. Okay, men shouldn't be fighting against women. I don't care about your stupid exceptions on a competitive level. Done. If they were good, Leah, not Leah, was Leah Thomas, whatever that guy's name is.
Something. Leon, Leonard,
a very
whatever.
moderate, very average, mediocre swimmer in the men wins number one in the women. I mean, how many times do you have to see that before you go, yeah, that's probably not fair, because the whole point of sports is to make competitive, in this case for women against women, because women have different body types physically. They develop different. I mean, I said this on a video in Locals. If I showed you the bull I've got compared to a cow of a similar age ago, well, that's clearly the bull. I mean, just what it is. And if I have a bull calf on the ground in about 2 or 3 months, or heifer, I can tell the difference looking at them.
Oh, yeah.
Take outside the genitals, I can tell. Now, humans mature a little slower, but when I'm a 2-year-old kid, I can tell who's who.
Yeah.
I'm not living in a delusion. My instincts chime in. I'm not sure how I got off on that rabbit hole, but they hire these diversity hires, and people just go, well, she's a black woman. What are you going to say about it? She's got African-American studies. What do you do with that degree? You teach them that degree. You better be a millionaire before you go in, because you're never going to make any money. They're going to complain and say it's the white guy's fault. I'm like, no, you could have Googled that degree before you started, found out there's no jobs. Now you're $250,000 in debt for a 4-year degree. There's no jobs. Well, no shit, Sherlock. I don't feel sorry for you. You want to study it on your own. You can learn more stuff. As much as I hate YouTube, you want to learn about chemistry or mathematics, you can learn about how to do trigonometry. There'll be a teacher. A lot of times, a lot of Indian teachers get on there to teach it. They want to work on their English language skills. They're great teachers. Well, I'm not good at math. Like, you've been playing video games and jerking off all afternoon.
Drinking Monster.
Now, it may take you 3 times longer than the kid is good at math. But you have this victim culture. They don't care. They deserve what they get. Not the people watching here, but these people that sit there and complain and moan, like the VFW guy. Oh, the VA sucks. Well, it's good when you signed up, bro. What are you doing? You expect oh, well, the VA sucks. What's your claim look like? Got any records? Anything in your records? Well, no, I had a buddy statement, and I got this really horrible PTSD. I'm like, you may, but what are you doing? Just complaining about it? I mean, move on. The VFW guy comes to mind. We're like, oh yeah, the Army screwed me. I go, you're 30 years old. You didn't know they were going to screw you. Joined up in today's world with the internet. And I know lots of guys came out, and this is great. Like, I knew a Navy guy at 27 years, and he goes, the Navy paid me, knew exactly what I was going to get. I kind of expected what they gave me most of the time. It was great. I got a paycheck, but he was very reasonable. He goes, I knew it was a lot of hurry up and wait. He goes, I didn't think I was going to make chief. I don't know how I made it that far without making chief, but he did. And he goes, but he's practical.
Yeah, that's true.
And
very true.
Complaining about it, going, this is the system I'm in. There's a lot of hurry up and wait. There's a lot of politics, a lot of nonsense. Let me stay on a ship. Let me stay somewhere else out of garrison. I'm not dealing with it. At least that was in our case. The more you're in garrison, the worse things get. When we got anything else, Ben?
I've got 2 last topics, and these are both kind of combined here. And the first one is right here. House Republicans are setting an impeachment hearing for Mayorkas. And I don't know if this is going to do anything.
No.
I don't know where this is going to go, but I think enough Democrats are losing money that Mayorkas might be the scapegoat.
Well,
and that's the avenue that I think
you called it the scapegoat. Easy to say, well, we hired Mayorkas. He was a solid candidate. He failed at his job. We got another one coming who'll do even better. Mayorkas is a great scapegoat. And then he'll get some cushy board seat and move on.
CNN spokeshole.
Yeah, I don't see Mayorkas mattering, because let's say they impeach him and they kick him. That Joe Biden will just, it's an appointed position. They'll appoint the next guy. Could be worse than Mayorkas.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
You're probably
like Saddam
right.
Hussein. We have Saddam Hussein, and we have shit. My brain, I'm a little tired. Who was the Secretary of Defense under Bush?
Was it Rumsfeld?
Rumsfeld. We got Rumsfeld in the 80s. Go to Saddam Hussein. What happens there? World's your business. I don't care. You're whacking the gas and the Kurds. Do your thing, bro.
Never found those WMDs. Damn it.
And so, it's. I guess my point is dance to the devil versus the one you don't know. And Mayorkas is going to fail because the administration wants this, and both parties want it.
Yeah.
I mean, Ronald Reagan signed with Teddy Kennedy, 80? I can't remember, 70. And then let's fast forward. George Bush the first. I don't remember much about immigration. It wasn't like it is today, by no means. Under George Jr., well, it wasn't as bad because they didn't welcome, like, say, come to the border. Daddy Joe says, come here, I'll let you in. They flood. They said, Daddy Joe said to come. Saying that's a problem. Just like he said, Putin's a murderous scumbag, degenerate. You don't need to say that. He said that on the air. Saying half the country believes in MAGA are the problem. Okay, you've taken a side, real stand. Half the country is terrible. Now, that's really what we've got with this whole thing is I don't think they care anymore. Until it affects their wallet. And I think our politicians are weak and ineffective on the non-left. I don't find Marjorie Taylor Greene, everybody's all hot about her. All the MAGA programs, man, they had MTG on all the time. MTG's quotes, she's this, she's out there. Yeah. What has she done? Nothing.
Not a damn thing. Not a damn thing. The last thing I've got, last topic for the night. Joe Biden, I don't know who is pulling the strings with this guy.
Oh, God.
Who's got their hand up his adult diaper. I don't know who it is. But on January 6th, which is 3 days away, January 6th, we've got this 3-year anniversary from the most dangerous insurrection since Pearl Harbor. He is taking a trip to Charlottesville, Virginia. And he's going to deliver a speech in Charlottesville harping on Trump. And they're doing it in Charlottesville because that's where Trump said there were good people on both sides. They cut off the rest of the speech. But that's where he's going. He's going there to incite more racial division.
Right,
now, no like public information has come out about this. But I've got a guy on the inside in the machine that is where Joe Biden will be on January 6th in Charlottesville, Virginia, for the whole, we hate Trump, he's a racist, xenophobe, hates his mom, hates Americans, all this other stuff. And that's where he's going to be. What do you think about this move? It's going to happen. It is happening. The groundwork is being laid. When I say I got a guy on the inside, he works on the inside and they go and do all the prep work for things like this. They go do all the security prep work. That's where it's going to be. And I think it is the most vile, disgusting, underhanded maneuver, but I expect nothing less from the current Democrat regime. And giving the devil his due, it's a good, dirty move. In wrestling, it's a poke in the eye. It's a low blow. It's throwing sand in the face. I think that's what this is. What's your take on it? And that's the last topic I got.
I mean,
and then we'll hit some comments.
Let me take Charlottesville on a small scale. We had a guy in a car who ran over some people, right? We have people walking around with tiki torches. They look like feds. Okay. But the real terrible part was the guy in the car.
Yep.
So he's a criminal. I'm sure he's in jail the rest of his life. What is there really to talk about here? Now, in real terms, like if you were to narrow this down, your leftist neighbor, walk me through this. Okay, there's people protesting. Okay, so people tiki torches. Okay, they're Nazis. Okay, they're protesting. Right, got it. The other people, the best among us, protesting. Then you have somebody in a car who just commits a criminal act. All right, so is that the bad thing? Well, those protesters are bad, but they're allowed to protest, right? So there's not there's not a lot here beyond, but if you walk somebody through it and just say, here's the event, right? The terminal event, upset people. I know you don't like the torches and the feds walking around doing that. I get it. I don't like this saying, take America, we're being replaced. You don't like those people, but they're just protesting. The criminal act was the one guy. So that's all we're focused on here, right? And, let's take aside what Trump said. He's going to cherry pick he's got to be better with he's just too loose with the words. And I don't know if he didn't know going in. Obviously you can take a clip from anybody and jam them up, make them look stupid. But I think, Joe, they'll ramp it up. They'll have video nonstop where those people can run over by the guy in the car, and they'll show it. And they'll say, look, this is white supremacy. It's a problem in Charlottesville, Virginia. And I'm sure it'll fire up his base. They'll say, look, here's what Trump said. It'll probably be a campaign ad. Trump said they weren't all bad people. Okay, that's, I don't know what you do when you walk in those buzzsaws as a president. You think you're not going to get trapped in it. And I like what Trump did. I think he had a lot of major faux pas, and, he thought he could push the machine, it would crumble. And he exposed it. That's for darn sure. He did expose the machine. The machine's doubling down. That's, ultimately is what I'm thinking here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And is it good for Joe? Do people really care? People know what happened. Well, the media is going to frame everything that happened for you to consume, not what really happened. Like breaking out real simple. We had a protest about a statue, as I recall. You have people over here saying it was the worst statue in the world, literally since Schmittler. People over here with the tiki torch feds and some other people. There's probably some fights, probably some tear gas going on. Okay, typical protest. But then the guy runs over people. Therein lies the nefarious, terrible action. And he's in prison, right? He's by himself. They didn't even say he was with a group or coordinating. Just focus on that. Well, I hate these people over here. Okay, but they were just doing what people do when they protest. It could be a protest against, who's better, the Celtics or the Lakers in the 80s. I mean, at some point you got to just narrow down really specifically to what the issue here is. But they don't want to do that because it'll all be crafted by the media. They'll keep crafting this whole thing. They'll show Trump talk. They'll show the guy in the car. They'll have snippets of something that happened 5 years ago. No one fact checks them. And then the average person consumes it. Like my neighbor, I was at their house around dinner time. And what do they have on NBC? I mean, they asked me some of my opinions on some of the stuff I saw going on. I'm like, you need to stop watching this.
Yep.
Just read it, consume it, because you hear it over and over. And, what's going on in Gaza and Israel? What do you think, buddy? And, what I think is there's a bunch of fobs that were wide open. And these guys ran around all high on drugs with AK-47s, just overran them. That's a question. It should be answered. There was no response from a country that's got their borders more secure than anything. It's an interesting problem. Now that's done, whatever. So anyway, that's all
I think what's going on. So many distractions, and my number one priority when I go vote is not going to be the Epstein list. I don't give a shit. Bill Gates went there 200 times. I don't care. I don't care. Bill Clinton went there 50 times. I don't care. I feel sorry for the victims. Yes, I do. Don't confuse that. But where I'm at right now, my number one thing is the border. My number two thing is the border. Number three is the economy. That's and then followed closely by all the confidence that has been lost in America's justice system. That's my top priority.
System is absolutely terrifying.
Yep.
And I said on Twitter one point, you're not following me there, you should. I said, if you can kill a president, JFK, you can arrest one and kick their door in the FBI for sure.
Yep.
For sure. And you got to ask yourself, and everybody kind of assumes the JFK thing had government's fingerprints on it. Maybe not in total, but complicit. You can't, even Trump, they wouldn't let us see the documents. We're talking 1963.
Yep.
So they're waiting for everybody to die off. They'll say, well, those people have long since gone to the CIA, some rogue agents. But so go back that far. If they can kill one of the most popular presidents ever, it was in 3 years. Who knows what he would have really done long term when he got us out of Vietnam? All the speculation, greatest man ever. They can whack him. They can arrest a guy, put him in jail. I mean, don't kid yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just trying to shame him into a quarter. They can financially try to break him as much as possible. And these people mean business. And we've got way too many people that are just ignoring everything going on. Now, of course, not you guys here, but talk to your crazy brother-in-law and say, listen, it's like Ben said, it's the economy, it's the border. It's the economy, it's the border.
Yeah.
I think that's a distraction. What is your rep doing about the economy? Oh, he voted for the Inflation Reduction Act. No. You bringing pork jobs to my district. Let me be very clear.
Yeah.
I want the shitty government jobs to pay a lot of money and all the workers that come with that. That's what I want from you. I want a new bridge over here, the federal government to fund it. I'm the district. I want the good deals. That's why I elected you. I want you to bring back the goodies for me. And so that's where I want the economy, because that's all you can do. I don't want you voting on. And this border problem, we can't pay for these people. We are broke. We're buying from China every second, and we're going, well, we can afford to give them money. No, we
National
cannot.
debt hit 34 trillion today. 34 trillion today.
We can't afford to do any of that. I won't be here when the game of musical chairs and the seat's not there. I'm just watching it erode slowly. People that are in their 30s, you're sub 40, you better get on the stick, because you will have nothing.
You're screwed.
Because these people won't let you have a penny. The way this economy is, you can't save $1. You can't figure out which way it's going. This stock market with these crazy, unreal results with a really atypical what's going on. Like, none of that makes sense. And they'll probably drop the rates. Well, look what Joe Biden did. He dropped the rates. The Fed will probably drop the rates. We'll come in. If you should be terrified in what's coming up. At some point, this pretending, you got inflation like this, usually what happens is interest rates go up and stock market tanks a little bit, because you got some, guaranteed income versus the stock.
There's about to be a massive correction.
Yeah, on bonds, and you don't see that. I'm not trying to get all, what's this guy, Kramer? The guy's always wrong.
But, Jim Kramer.
It's pretty common sense. You look historically. Do yourself a favor. Look at historically. Look at the fate of empires. You can look it on YouTube. Fate of empires. Shows an Englishman. He talks about all these empires when they're ending, what they look like. And it's going to end faster. You just have to suffer. Like, man, I'm working 3 hours a week. My pension got robbed by Mittens Romney when he bought the company. That's what I got.
Let me get to some comments over here. We got some good comments in the chat. I saw a comment up here. I can't find it, but it was in reference to the military thing. And it says, while you're in the military, I guess the guy was a Marine. He said, while I was a Marine, the last thing you wanted to do was bring attention to yourself. And I think that's exactly what's
that is right on point. I don't know when he was in, but I remember I wouldn't go anywhere near out in town near the military base, because older guys, retired guys, will correct you in a second.
Oh, yeah, and call you out.
You found an earring on a young devil dog out in town. Those old guys will snatch it out of your ear.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, and so I'd say far away, and you couldn't hide the haircut, because that's just what it is. It had to be 0 to 3 max once a week. You're getting once a week, but they square you up fast. Now I know it's the same way anymore, but that's a good point.
Somebody in here had a joke, says, go easy on Menendez. His family's from Cuba. And I think that's funny. I think that's a good comment. Let's see here. There was another one, and I won't say this person's name, but she's going to email me. Says she's been an RN working at the VA. She's going to email me some stuff. Don't want to say the name or whatever. And it was whenever we were talking about the Schmaxine stuff. Let's see here. Back in the 70s, this woke ship would never go on a U.S. ship. How far could they tread water? And that was when the military, like, you had a little fan room counseling, right? You get out of hand, the military, you go fix those things, but now you can't do that. It's it is so out of line with what can occur and what will
takes
occur.
Away from that young sailor's, in this case, experience in the Navy. You get a lot of valuable lessons by getting tuned up.
Yeah.
I mean, a kid that's bullied and the kid commits suicide, you go, well, you shouldn't bullying. I can tell you, herds, tribes, they always kind of set the pecking order. And that's how life is. They won't do it to your face, though, to screw you behind your back in real life.
Yep. Somebody said here, African-American studies, drive down any street and see if you see an African-American studies store that's hiring. That's a good point.
Unless you're a DEI,
not a career
PhD, and you're black and have it, yeah, you could probably get a job, but it's not going to be a not-for-profit, maybe. I mean, it just does not a degree you're going to get.
No.
I mean, I don't care what's could be Portuguese American studies. There's no job for it.
Yeah. Somebody says, gents, can you all comment on Vivek's full comment of the mainstream media for him to denounce white supremacy in comparison to other Republicans? I think it's kind of odd they want him to call out white supremacy. He's Indian. He's not white. I think that's the irony with the mainstream media. I mean, it's insanity. He's Indian. I don't get it. It reminds me of the Chappelle show where they
Yeah.
had the black white supremacist or the black member of that
Tyrone
organization.
Biggins, whatever he's called. Yeah.
Yeah. It was all irony. And the Chappelle show only had 2 seasons. Great show. Now he's a wacko, but he's right on so many things and calling out the irony. And I just watched his special, and he said in his special that he couldn't make fun of the trans community. So he went after the disabled people. And part of his bit was there was a disabled guy, or he said, yeah, in the back row, there's these disabled guys in their wheelchairs, and they showed up to laugh at the trans. And now it's like, what are you picking on us for? And that's the way it is right now. It's running in cycles. 20 years ago, we could make fun of each other and everybody got along. But now it reminds me of that dude that was in the video game store, and the young kid was like, sorry, sir. And he was like, it's ma'am.
Yeah.
It's just complete irony. Vivek denouncing white supremacy. That's like me. I drive a Toyota Tacoma. Do I need to come out and say I don't like Ford? I don't own a Ford. So I don't care, whatever. I don't really care. Let's see here. Let's see. There was another good comment. Somebody wanted to know about Bitcoin. Do we invest in Bitcoin? I don't.
I never got, that was an interesting timeline to watch. Every channel, the Bitcoin, the crypto, it was all over. And I was watching it. And I was kind of fascinated. It reminded me of other things I've seen historically in finance. And I said, okay, someone to throw a little bit at it. But, again, you're gambling at that point. And I watched it rise. And then I thought to myself the whole time, I go, the government's not going to allow this.
No,
They will find a way you can't kill the currency. You may want to, but they're not going to allow it anyway.
No. Somebody in here backed up. Backwood Nomads. Great comment. She got picked like a pet. I completely agree. And that's the way society is going right now. People are getting picked like pets. It's pitiful. I don't have a lot else. Let's see. Laugh out loud. Some kid in town has an old Toyota with Toyota all big across the window. Yeah, of course. I mean, that's just the way kids are, and that's what they do. We all did that. But I hope you guys hit that like, subscribe button. Thanks for tuning in. You can follow us over on Rumble. We're on Facebook. When we get this Rumble studio worked out, we're going to be streaming to Twitch and Kick. We'll be streaming all over the place. We don't talk during the week. Cryptic messages. We send each other a bunch of links to like crazy mushroom head idiots on Twitter. We need to set up a Twitter account for Pogey Bait is what we need to do.
I mean, I think the point, thanks you guys for being here, but the point is, two people kind of trying to be reasonable minded. Like if you said to me, hey, I got this black brother and there's really a problem with white supremacy, I go talk to him, explain to me. Is it now, but what can he do about his situation? So we could talk about it is my point. We could sit down and go, interesting. But what do you do about it ultimately? And just being pragmatic, like we worked for a living, had to pay bills. I'm not sitting there trying to shill you legacy titles, whatever that thing was every shilling last year.
Yeah.
So there lies, but we can talk about it. We're kind of in the same place as reading it. We often come to different things we see out of it, which I find to be interesting.
It is good to have different perspectives. Echo chambers are dangerous completely.
It's like Ben Shapiro. When he was in Seattle radio, good. I can't tolerate to watch his show. I mean, he's kind of talking down. He's bitter. He was a never Trumper. He was pro the vaccine when he was getting paid by Pfizer. I mean, it's a no brainer. He, this came up with Israel. And somebody
Candace Owens disappeared. She's disappeared.
Well, Tucker Carlson has something about it. Ben gets all bitter, like, two things should be true. But Ben, you're not as passionate. It's clear you're not as passionate about the United States of America as you are Israel. You should be able to say, yeah, I get your point. Yeah, but I do feel that way, but I'm passionate because of my wife's from there or something like that. That's not said. He just gets bitter and then it becomes anti-Semitic. I'm like, no, I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm stating the obvious. You have this huge platform. You're selling you as Mr. America and what you've done. Now, I don't dislike Ben per se, but I start looking and it's just getting worse. And like the Candace Owens thing with him and was Israel. They always have fights. I think it's like controlled opposition. Honestly, they're both making millions of dollars. I think Ben, he can't go back to the colleges anymore as a 45-year-old pick on 18-year-old. It's not fun anymore. He was 25. It was cute, but he looked
now
young.
it's creepy.
45. It looks just like, okay, bro, step aside. Just run the Daily Wire.
Yeah. It's like Charlie Kirk. I see him going to colleges and I'm like, man, this is creepy.
Yeah, you've aged out of that.
Yeah.
If you're going to challenge them, if you're going to lecture to them and talk to them, but then I'm not a Daily Wire guy. I mean, I used to watch Matt Walsh a little bit, but I don't know. It just kind of seemed like it was the same thing over and over to a degree. Sometimes I'll click on, like, I thought his hierarchy of oppression was very funny.
And that's like our channel. We don't harp on the same stuff. We grab different things. Half the time you don't even know the topics that I grab, and we just roll. Before
most time I find to be, I'm reading the same stuff, and I think, but I don't know. You may have other places. And, Twitter is, you can be in another rabbit hole a mile away from a guy that you should be looking at the same stuff.
Yeah.
But all right, my friends, I appreciate it.
Well, guys, gals, girls, there's only two genders out there as far as I'm concerned. Y'all have a good night. Hit that like, subscribe button. We'll be back on here in a couple of days. We got to let some news come out. I want to see if my name's on Jeffrey's flight log. I'm sure JT's is probably on there as well.
Right,
I went down, had some pina coladas, whatever, the name that I really hope is on there, the name that I hope, if I could pick one name, Oprah Winfrey. I hope Oprah's on there. I really hope Oprah's on that list.
Right. I doubt it. She's untouchable. She's off the list. I mean, she didn't go there. She's on the list, though.
She probably wrote the freaking list, is probably what it is. She probably wrote the list.
Her and Barry smoking the wacky tobacco.
Yeah, man. I got to go light up some devil's lettuce and relax. You guys take care. Have a good night. We'll see you later. Take it easy.